Hi guys, welcome to the 7th video of our MySQL tutorial series. This video will be fully dedicated to the constraints and alter table topics, and in this video we will be covering different types of constraints, namely the unique constraint, check constraint, named constraint, and we will be you looking to the alter table topic, wherein in the alter table we will try to add a column, we'll try to modify data types, we'll try to add a unique constraint, we'll try to add a check constraint, we will try to drop a column, we will try to drop a constraint, and we will rename a column and rename the table in the alter table topic. So without wasting much of time, let's get started. Let's open our MySQL command line client. Okay, so let's do show databases. We are using our tutorial database, so we'll use tutorial, and in the tutorial database we'll check for tables. So we have two tables, namely contact list and product. So let's look into unique constraint topic. So basically unique constraint is a type of a constraint where if we apply it to a field, that particular field value has to be unique. If it is not unique, it will throw us errors. Let's see it with the help of a practical example. Let's say I want to create a table and I will call that table as coninfo. Coninfo will be storing data like, let's say I want name, let's give it varchar 10, and let's give it not null. Other field we will use as phone number, let's give it varchar 9, varchar 10, and let's make it unique, not null, unique. Let's close our table, let's create it, and yeah, our table coninfo is created. Let's check for that table, and yes, coninfo is created. Let's see whether our insert works in coninfo. Insert into coninfo, coninfo, and I want to insert the name and as well as the phone number. Let's provide values as common and the next value of number 7890. Let's close it. Let's insert the value. The first value is inserted. Let's reinsert the same value. Let me just change the name. Let's reinsert it, and we get the duplicate entry error for coninfo. Let's see if there is any warnings for this. Show error. Okay. Show errors. And yeah. So when we are checking this error, we have an error in our SQL syntax. This is how our unique constraint will work. Our next part is check constraint. So in check constraint, let's drop this table, drop table con info, show tables, Yeah. So next we will check for the check constraint. Let's say I want to create a table called create table. Let's say I want it user, and in the user we will create a name of varchar, let's say 10, and let's give it a not null constraint here. Our next will be age. Age will be of type integer, and we'll apply the check here of age greater than 0. And let's close our table and create it. And yes, our table user is created. So in table user, I would like to insert a value in age column. Insert into user. Let's say I want to insert name as well as age. Values. Let's say the name is Aman and the value is 10. And our data gets inserted. Now if I want to give a minus age, let's say I'm giving -1, -10 as the age, we get the check constraint error that user check 1 is violated. So since while creating this table user, when we check for the description of user, okay, so in the age field we have applied this constraint wherein our error is we can't insert a negative value to the age column. This is what a constraint for check is used for. And this check, we basically whenever we want to implement the validations in the database level, we can use these constraints. Let's say I will also show you the named constraint. So let's say I'll drop table user and I'll recreate it again once more. So I'll say I'll create table user, and in this user I'll say name, which will be of varchar 10, and it will be a not null. After the name I'll add the age, which will be of int type, and after that I will add a constraint of age underscore not underscore negative. This is the example of a named constraint. So let's say our constraint is age not negative, and we are giving this a check, and we say age is greater than equal to 0, and we close the check bracket. After that we close the table bracket and we create this. And after that, whenever we will try to insert into user, let's say I want to insert name and age, and I'll provide the values. So values is, let's say it's someone, and I'm inserting a negative age. So what a named constraint will actually do. So see, it is giving a named constraint is giving a meaningful message. So just as we defined our constraint here, age not negative. So it is saying check constraint age not negative is violated. This is how our constraint basically works. Next, we will jump on to the alter table topic. So let's get started. Before starting the alter table, let's drop our users show tables. Let's do it first. So we'll drop table user and we'll create our table we'll create a separate table. Let's call it create table employee info. In the employee info we'll have a ID which will be int and will be a primary key. Next we'll have first name and that will be of worker 10. Next we'll have last name, it will be of worker again 10. Next we will have, let's say, salary. So salary is, let's say, I'll say decimal of 10, 2. So I think this much data will be enough to give an example for alter table. Let's create this table. So yeah, our table is created, and yes, our table employee info is created. So our first query which we will execute is to add a new column to alter table to table employee info. So I'll add a new column like this. I'll say alter table employee info, and this I'll say add DOB, and I'll give the data type as date. And yes, our query has successfully executed. We'll check it with the describe command. And yes, DOB is added here, guys. Our next query will be to drop a column. Let's say we'll drop DOB which we added. So we'll say alter table, we'll say employee info, and we'll say drop column, and then we'll say DOB. And yes, our employee info is dropped. So I've shown you how to add a column and then how to drop a column using alter table. This alter table command is basically used for modifying the existing tables if you want to modify something in that. So we'll go step by step. We have shown how to add the column and how to drop the column. Next we will modify a column. So let's say I want to modify the salary column. So I'll say alter table employee info, and in this employee info I'll say modify column, and I'll provide the column name which is salary, and in salary I want to change the data type from decimal 10, 2 to I'll say decimal 12, So our query gets successfully executed. Now we'll check it with the describe column, and guys, you can see that it is changed to decimal 12,2. Earlier it was decimal 10,2. So our next uh, alter command is for, let's say I want to rename the column, rename one of the existing column. So let's say I want to rename last name to surname. So I can do that by alter table employee info, and I want to uh, rename last name to, let's say I want to make it surname. Alter table info employee info, I need to say rename column last name to surname. I'll run this query, and yes, our last name is changed to surname. Now our next topic is, let's say I want to rename the table. So I'll say alter table, I want to rename employee info to, let's say, employee details. Employee info, rename, I want to rename this table employee info to employee details. And yes, our table is renamed. When we will shoot the command show tables, you can see our table is renamed. So let's say I want to alter it again and rename it back to employee info. So I'll do it by this command, alter table employee details, rename to employee info. And let's say if it has changed or not. And yes, it is changed. So our next topic for employee info is to add a constraint and to drop a constraint. So we can do it by this command. Let's say alter table employee info, and we'll add constraint, and we will say it unique underscore fname, and we'll pass the unique to our first name column. And yes, our query has worked. We'll see description of this employee info, and yes, you can see that in the first name the unique key is added. So let's say I want to drop this constraint. We can do it with the following command, alter table employee info, and we'll say drop constraint, and we'll provide our constraint name, which is unique fname. And yes, our constraint is dropped. We can check it by the description, and you guys can see here that our constraint of unique fname is dropped. So that's it for today, guys. Today we have covered the constraint and the alter table topic. Stay tuned for more such contents. Thanks for watching, and if you do like the content, please consider subscribing. Thank you.